Alright everyone, High Flyers Tag Team back here again today with the next episode of the Godzilla vs. Kong Marathon March thing. And sorry I'm really out of it after watching this. On today's, we watched Godzilla Raids again. And this is like my first time fully watching it and not just clips from it and stuff. Yeah, I wasn't too fond of it. I really didn't think it could be as bad as people are saying. I mean, I get it's supposed to symbolize the relations, the opposing relation, America and Russia building at the time, with Japan kind of in the center and stuff like that, or whatever it's supposed to be. But like, this film it wasn't. You could tell it had the same issues as Son of Kong. Felt rushed, was nowhere near as good in quality. The acting wasn't as good, the characters weren't as good, the story wasn't as good, the effects weren't as good, the score wasn't as good. And I'll just break it down real quick. The human element of this movie, didn't enjoy it at really all. There wasn't a lot of development of characters. I believe most of them, if not all of them, were brand new. I only remember seeing like really one familiar face, which was like the father from 54. I could be completely crazy and just not really. I'd just be horrible at remembering people that much. The acting was okay. If I had to guess, they did their best with what they had to work with. There was just no fear. There just seemed to be the same feeling that the first movie had, the acting, where everyone seemed scared. Everyone was in cold sweats and stuff, basically. Everyone was terrified. And then in this film, they're partying, Godzilla and Anguirus just literally destroyed the city and they're all getting drunk and partying. Or like, they're getting ready to come in and they're having a dance. Or Godzilla just destroyed the city. They're literally walking through the mayhem and what probably should be a radioactive zone, which it's not. They kind of just get rid of that, I assume. And they're just like laughing because the one guy wants a girlfriend or whatever. And no one really got too much development for me. The only guy I remember they really kind of tried to develop was Mr. Groom. And he won't reveal a secret, and then the girl ends up finding out before she could say anything to him, or he could basically reveal it to her with his own mouth, or say goodbye or whatever. He just gets blown up into the mountain. He's just gone. The human side of the story, like the regular human side, like I'm not even talking about the subplot. We'll get on that here in a second. The regular human side of the story was not nearly as good. The acting wasn't good. I didn't feel like they were really ever in any danger. There was this weird subplot where there was prisoners it was a long sequence. First I was like, oh, that's actually a good thing it's a long sequence, because at least it wasn't like just, hey, a car hit this power plant or whatever. No, they actually like gave it some detail and whatever, but it just came out of nowhere and it was so boring when the prisoners broke out. And there's the most boring chase sequence I've ever seen, basically. Then they crash just somehow. And literally, it's all so they can bring Godzilla back. But Anguirus was there because Anguirus got attracted by the flares. And Godzilla was clearly able to see him. So why didn't they just have it where, oh man, the flares might... Godzilla starts walking away, but Anguirus shows up because of that. And ends up just, like, in the end, biting him, So... Godzilla and them end up fighting anyways. You didn't need this whole subplot of the prisoners stuff. It was so boring. They all just die. There was no reason for it. The soundtrack in this movie, which I didn't get to talk about last episode, I did mention it with like text, but it was amazing. I love the soundtrack in the last movie. This one, it's not good at all, And the worst part about it is like it's hardly there, Like, this movie felt so awkwardly quiet compared to the first movie. There was almost never any music playing. Like, when they're fighting and stuff, it's just sound effects. There's never... Which could add a sense of realism, but there's just never any music, basically. When there is, it's not that good. Compared to the first movie, at least. I love the monsters' designs in this movie, overall. The suits could have been probably tweaked a little bit. The problem with it, though, is that most of them are, like... It's mostly puppetry. And... the puppetry doesn't look that good. Love Anguirus' design. Love Godzilla's design. I've always loved this Godzilla's design, but the puppets look awful. And there's like these weird, really awkward scenes where Godzilla's just standing completely still. It's like a toy or something. The miniatures in the movie also weren't as good. They were good, but they were kind of more rushed. And the whole effects and stuff, like the planes and stuff dropping bombs, it all looked silly. Like I said, it just, none of it looked as good. Godzilla's atomic breath in some shots I thought looked more like how it does later on, but a lot of it just didn't look as good. He would hit Anguirus in the face with it and just blow up the entire city behind him. And Godzilla basically destroyed the whole city of oh my god, I'm not even gonna pronounce it. Oisaka. I'm sorry, guys. I'm horrible with names. You guys should know that by now. I'm not even gonna try, but there's just nothing. It doesn't look that good. There's not a good score. It doesn't look as good. The story isn't good. The acting isn't good. I don't feel like they're in peril. I don't care if they're in peril even, because none of them entertain me. They're all laughing, joking around, getting drunk, and the monsters destroy it. As for the fighting themselves, there's some really highlights of it. It's one of the most brutal Godzilla kills I've ever seen, where Godzilla basically bites the back of Anguirus' neck out, presumably, I would say, paralyzing him, and then just blowing him, like, basically setting him on fire with the atomic breath, which is kind of weird since earlier, he was shown to be, it didn't hurt him, but here, it just kind of blows him up. That's whatever. There's some really weird shots when they go to blast Godzilla in the ice and stuff. That didn't look that great. And then like the whole battle, with in the city, there were some really awkward shots where like the city started to crumble, but it was like sped up. And I know it was some glitch with the filming or whatever, but there was like times where this movie was sped up instead of slowed down. It looked really awkward. It didn't look that good. It would have been better to give it that normal pace or slowed down slightly. Definitely not sped up. That really hurt the quality. And the fight happened, from what I remember, kind of early on. Like, I think like 30 minutes in. Not the first fight, but the second fight kind of happens. And then it goes on for like 15 minutes, surprisingly, with like interruptions. With like necessary interruptions for like the human story to basically finish up the subplots and stuff. But there's really long segments before they do cutaway stuff. But just none of it's enjoyable. The human side isn't enjoyable. The monster side isn't enjoyable. That much. Anguirus dies and he's gone for like 50 minutes, just leading to the human characters not even caring about what happened, just laughing, getting drunk and stuff when all this is going on. Which, does lead into the end. They find Godzilla. They bury him under the ice. Some of it looks really awkward, and they literally have a scene where they see we can bury him. They go back, it just cuts back, and then next thing you know, they're back again. And it was just so unnecessary for them to explain the plan. Godzilla's breaking out the ice stuff. Yeah, I didn't enjoy this film too much. I really didn't. Like, at first I thought it was going to be better. I honestly, I don't know. I would probably rather watch Son of Kong, but that's really hard to tell. Both these movies are kind of crappy, I guess. And, like, this movie did have good elements, don't get me wrong. I really like the fact that kept the 54, where, like, his atomic breath just, that's one sweep of it, sets the whole city on fire. And, like, lights and stuff anger him and drift him away. And Serizawa's gone, and they all know they're screwed. And there's no point in trying. I like that stuff, but that was just, like, those are, like, the rare things I like about this movie. So overall, I don't know. I would probably say I like would rather watch Son of Kong than this one, but that's so hard to tell. I don't know. Overall, I'm gonna give this movie. I'm really having a hard time here. Originally I was gonna rate it with a 2.5 stars, but then that was like halfway through. That's what was in my mind. And then I finished it. This film, so rushed. Yeah. So I think I'm definitely probably going to give this one. I'm having a really hard time right now between 1.5 stars and 2 stars. So I'll be generous and give this, keep it on track with Son of Kong. Just because of some of the good things and the suit designs and stuff. I really enjoy all those. But yeah, you're not going to see me back with this film in a while. 2 stars really isn't that good considering, what this film should have been. Sequel to one of the most beautiful films I've ever seen. So that's all. Next episode's King Kong vs. Godzilla, which I'm gonna love. I'm really excited for, and I've never seen the Japanese version. I love the American version from what I remember, so it's one of my favorite Godzilla movies. So I know the Japanese version is supposed to be better, and it has a QV score. So hope you guys enjoyed. Have a great day. As always, peace. Bye bye.